Most e-bike motors are guaranteed for thousands of miles from the manufacturers and often don't need any maintenance whatsoever, but it's not something you can simply chuck in the corner of your shed and forget about. It will run into problems from time to time. So today's video, we're taking a look at all those common motor problems. Now firstly, I just want to mention that any warranty is going to be totally invalid as soon as you start undoing bolts and taking the actual motor itself apart. The warranty period is going to vary from brand to brand as well, so just check that. It's usually just a simple case of taking the bike back to the dealer, they take the bike in, often with a motor in it, and get things sorted ASAP and you'll be back on the road. Now first up, it's just going to be a visual inspection of the motor itself. If there's a load of dirt on the outer of it, then sometimes it can actually creep into the motor itself. Usually these things are really well sealed, but occasionally you will get a bit of moisture or a bit of dirt trapped in the actual motor housing itself. So it's a really good idea if your bike has got the plastic outer covers, just to whip them off, make sure all the drain holes are free to let any water out. And there isn't a big build-up of dirt, trapping moisture in there. Whilst you're in there, just have a quick look at the connections, maybe make sure they're all dry, nothing's rusting out and nothing's going to cause you any issues. Now increased noise coming from your motor could be a potential problem. I think something that is really key is to take a mental note of how much noise your motor is producing from day one, whether it's brand new or secondhand. You shouldn't see an increase in noise levels. It should be nice and smooth, no creaking or grinding going on. Just make sure you're not actually confusing it with any drivetrain noise. A really good way of doing that is just taking the chain off the chainring, spinning the cranks, putting your head to it, listening for the motor noises rather than drivetrain noises. When you're taking a look around your motor, it's really important to keep an eye out for rust. So that orange staining or any orange running water coming out of things like the motor shaft could be a potential problem waiting to happen. You might have got a bit overzealous washing it, or there's a leak getting into there, and obviously water and electricity isn't a good mix at all, so I suggest getting it down to your dealer ASAP and they're going to remedy it for you. A creaking e-bike can definitely drive you up the wall, and it can come from any number of parts on the bike. Something you definitely want to check is just those motor mounting bolts themselves. Just make sure they're torqued up to the manufacturer's settings as well, because these can come loose and cause the whole motor to float around in the bike. Whilst you're down there, you want to check things like crank bolts, the chainring bolts, and the actual spider that the chainring mounts onto. Just make sure they're cranked up nice and tight and you're not going to be creaking away out on the trails. When your system flashes up an error code, it means that there's an underlying problem on the e-bike. There's loads of sensors on here, torque sensors, cadence sensors, and things that are totally going to be monitoring what that motor is going to be doing all the time when you're riding. If you're getting the error code, it just means that there's an underlying problem on your e-bike. It's probably going to bite you pretty hard, so I wouldn't keep resetting the system to get over that error code. Get it sorted, because it will strike at the worst time possible. Some motor malfunctions you might experience out and about is going to be that the system won't actually turn on at all, meaning you're not going to get any assistance whatsoever. There might be intermittent assistance where you're going to get a little bit of assistance and a big surge. You might get a bit of motor overrun. Now a little bit of motor overrun is normally quite standard, but if it's surging away after you stop pedaling for lots of revolutions, then there could be a problem underlying and needs to get sorted. So get that bike back to the dealer, get things looked at. Excessive movement in your cranks could be a bit of bearing wear going on in the actual motor itself. Now a really good way of checking that is by grabbing the arms themselves, giving them a bit of side to side pull to make sure there's no excessive movement in there whatsoever. It should be nice and tight with no movement. Now a standard mountain bike bottom bracket you can whip out, chuck it in the bin. They tend to be quite a low mileage item compared to the e-bike motor itself, which with the bottom bracket bearings are integral and it's part of it. Now these tend to be a lot higher mileage item than the standard traditional mountain bike bottom bracket, but if you do get any problems with it, you need to take it back to the dealer. They'll either replace the bearings themselves or replace the motor. Another sign of a potential motor problem is resistance in the system. This could be either backpedaling the bike where the crank arms don't want to spin, there's a lot more resistance than usual, or you might experience it when you're actually pedaling forward. bit more resistance in the system itself. Now this could be a bearing problem, and it also could be a drivetrain problem as well. So once again, just isolate the chain from the chainring itself, make sure the problem is with the motor and not with the drivetrain itself. Give them a quick spin on the cranks with the chain off, and if the symptom's still there, it's the motor, not your drivetrain. So there you go, I really hope you've enjoyed today's video and all those potential motor problems and maintenance you can be doing on your e-bike before those gremlins strike. But if you want to stick around and watch another video, be sure to check out error codes. That's all about the most common problems and error codes and what they mean on your e-bike. Drop some comments in the box below, give us a thumbs up if you've enjoyed it. Be sure to subscribe to EMBN by clicking the globe in the middle of the screen.